cold, sterile, suffocating. The sleep lab, a place where the walls seem to close in, where the air feels thick with the weight of unspoken fears. The room is a paradox, designed to study rest but exuding an aura of unrest, a place of observation, of scrutiny, of unintended torment. The scientists, hidden behind glass, watch with clinical detachment, their eyes missing the human suffering unfolding before them. Every movement, every twitch is recorded, analyzed, and dissected. Wires snake across the bed, connecting the human subject to the cold, unblinking eye of technology. These wires, meant to capture the essence of sleep, instead become chains that bind the subject to a night of endless wakefulness. The bed, once a symbol of comfort, now feels like a trap. Each beep, each scribble on the graph paper, a betrayal of the body's primal need, sleep. The monitors, with their relentless beeping, serve as a cruel reminder of the body's rebellion against this artificial environment. The fluctuating lines on the graph paper tell a story of restlessness, of a mind that refuses to surrender to the night. The air hums with a low, persistent drone, a mechanical lullaby that does anything but soothe. The flickering fluorescent lights cast eerie shadows, turning the room into a landscape of nightmares. The hum, constant and unyielding, seeps into the mind, amplifying the sense of isolation. It grates on the nerves, a constant reminder of the experiment, the deprivation. The clock on the wall ticks away the hours, each second a testament to the subject's growing despair. The night stretches on, an endless expanse of time that offers no respite. The subject tosses and turns, a prisoner in a cage of white sheets. The bed, once a sanctuary, now feels like a prison cell. The white sheets, meant to provide comfort, now entangle the subject in a web of anxiety. Each toss, each turn is a silent scream for release. Sleep, once a comforting escape, now a distant memory. The eyes, once bright and full of life, now reflect the emptiness of sleepless nights. The bed, disheveled and empty, stands as a monument to the struggle for rest. The mind, deprived of its refuge, wanders through a maze of thoughts, unable to find peace. A cruel joke whispered from a world they can no longer reach. The ceiling, a blank canvas, becomes a screen for the mind's torment. The shadowy figure in the corner, a manifestation of the subject's deepest fears, looms large in the darkness. Sleep, once a gentle embrace, now feels like a distant, unattainable dream. In the depths of a Soviet laboratory, a chilling experiment unfolded. It was a time when the boundaries of human endurance were pushed to their very limits, and the quest for knowledge often veered into the realm of the macabre. 5 prisoners promised freedom in exchange for their participation, 30 days awake. They were ordinary men, plucked from the shadows of society, now thrust into an experiment that would test the very fabric of their sanity, a gas to keep them from slumber's embrace. This gas, a concoction of chemicals designed to stave off sleep, was their constant companion, filling the air with an invisible, insidious presence. At first, camaraderie, shared jokes in the face of the unknown. They laughed, they talked, they shared stories of their past lives, clinging to the last vestiges of normalcy. But as days bled into nights, the gas began to weave its dark magic. Paranoia set in, the whispers started, accusations, delusions. The once friendly faces turned suspicious, eyes darting, minds unraveling. Their minds, starved of sleep, crumbled into fragments of fear and madness. The boundaries between reality and hallucination blurred, and the men found themselves trapped in a waking nightmare. The experiment, a descent into a nightmare from which there was no waking. The walls of the chamber seemed to close in, the air thick with the scent of despair. Each passing hour brought them closer to the edge of insanity, and there was no escape from the horrors that lurked within their own minds. The Russian sleep experiment remains a haunting reminder of the dark corners of human curiosity and the terrifying consequences of pushing the limits of the human psyche. Radio DJ Peter Tripp, a man whose name would become synonymous with the limits of human endurance and the fragility of the mind. Tripp was a man who thought he could conquer sleep, believing that sheer willpower could overcome the body's natural need for rest. He vowed to stay awake for 10 days straight, a feat that would not only test his own limits but also serve as a grand publicity stunt to boost his career. But the human mind is not a machine to be toyed with. As the hours turned into days, the strain on his psyche began to show. The hallucinations began subtly at first. Flecks of dust in the air seemed to transform into crawling insects, a mere trick of the light, or so he thought. But soon, these minor distortions gave way to full-blown delusions. His own reflection in the mirror became a sinister imposter, a figure that seemed to mock his every move. The world around him morphed into a distorted, nightmarish funhouse where reality and illusion intertwined in a terrifying dance. As the days dragged on, Tripp's once confident demeanor crumbled. His eyes, once filled with determination, now looked hollow and haunted. Peter Tripp's stunt became a stark reminder of the power of sleep, a force that, when challenged, could unravel the very fabric of sanity. His ordeal serves as a cautionary tale, illustrating the delicate balance between ambition and the fundamental needs of the human body and mind. In the name of science, or perhaps cruelty, another dark chapter unfolded. Chinese prisoners subjected to a relentless assault of sleep deprivation, kept awake by any means necessary, forced to exercise, submerged in cold water, the effects swift and brutal, physical deterioration, mental collapse, their bodies and minds, pushed beyond their limits, broke down in horrifying ways. The Chinese sleep deprivation experiments stand as a chilling testament to the human capacity for suffering, a stark reminder of the darkness that can bloom when sleep is denied. Even today, the allure of sleep's mysteries persists. Controlled experiments, conducted with ethical considerations, still reveal the unsettling consequences of sleep deprivation: cognitive impairment, mood swings, hallucinations. While not as overtly horrific as their predecessors, these modern experiments serve as a potent reminder. Sleep, a fundamental human need, not to be trifled with. Its absence, a catalyst for a cascade of unsettling effects. The human mind, a complex and delicate ecosystem, sleep, its essential nourishment. Without it, the mind starves, withers, and ultimately distorts. The line between reality and nightmare blurs. Hallucinations bloom in the darkness behind the eyelids, vivid and terrifying. Sounds warp and twist, whispering insidious suggestions. The world, once familiar, transforms into a menacing landscape of shadows and whispers. Sleep deprivation unravels the very fabric of our perception. It distorts our senses, making us question what is real and what is a figment of our sleep-starved minds. The walls seem to breathe, shadows dance at the edge of our vision. Our grip on reality loosens, replaced by a growing sense of unease. We become strangers to ourselves, lost in a labyrinth of our own exhausted minds. The irony is cruel. Sleep, the very thing our bodies crave, the sanctuary we long for, becomes the enemy. We fear its embrace, the nightmares it might bring, the loss of control it represents. Every time we close our eyes, we are confronted by the monsters lurking in the shadows of our minds. The line between being awake and asleep blurs, leaving us trapped in a perpetual state of twilight terror. The descent into madness is gradual, insidious. It begins with a nagging fatigue, a slight difficulty concentrating. Then the hallucinations start, subtle at first, then growing increasingly vivid and disturbing. Paranoia sets in. We see conspiracies everywhere, trust no one, not even ourselves. Our thoughts race, disjointed and nonsensical. The world around us becomes a terrifying, surreal landscape. The pursuit of knowledge is a noble endeavor, but it comes at a price. The sleep experiments of the past, as well as the controlled studies of the present, serve as a stark reminder of the high cost of wakefulness. The human mind and body have limits. Pushing past those limits, depriving ourselves of the fundamental need for sleep, can have devastating and irreversible consequences. As you drift off to sleep tonight, remember those who were denied that basic human right. Recall the chilling stories of sleep experiments gone wrong, the descent into madness, the unraveling of the mind. Let their experiences serve as a haunting reminder of the importance of sleep. Embrace the darkness, surrender to its embrace, and allow your mind and body the rest they desperately need.